Welcome back to New Rockstars, I'm Erik Voss, and the Loki episode 6 finale leaves us in an altered TVA ruled over by Jonathan Majors as He Who Remains, a variant of Kang the Conqueror. But unlike the goofball He Who Remains variant, this statue is Kang the Conqueror, the cold-hearted Time Master villain of the Avengers and the Fantastic Four, one of those more evil variants He Who Remains warned us about, maybe even the one he referred to as a jerk, which I assume is what Scott Lang is gonna call Kang in Quantumania. Coming home to a warped reality? I thought Back to the Future was a bunch of bullshit, you jerk! But what exactly is going on in this final shot? Like, what version of the TVA does Loki now find himself in? And how did it get that way? Well, the TVA Timekeeper statues being swapped out for this Kang statue does kind of parallel the ending of Planet of the Apes, the classic 1968 version ending with the Statue of Liberty, but even more similarly, the 2001 Tim Burton remake that ended with the altered Lincoln Memorial. He Who Remains even does kind of sit the way Lincoln does in the statue. And based on that, you could infer that the TVA that Sylvie pushes Loki back into was warped or rewritten due to Sylvie killing He Who Remains and allowing the sacred timeline to fracture, which he warned would allow worse variants to replace him and take the TVA in an even more fascist direction. But without the cover story of a holy trinity of timekeepers, just like how Marty McFly returned in 1985 with his timeline rewritten with his dad a successful novelist and Biff his slave. But I'm not so sure, because the MCU established Back to the Future logic as, quote, a bunch of bullshit in Endgame, and Loki as a series has doubled down on the MCU timeline logic of changes to the past cause branch realities to split off from the sacred timeline, but leaving that original history unaffected, which is how we get a multiverse. Now sure, we couldn't always trust everything in Miss Minute's welcome video, but He Who Remains confirmed that there was a past multiversal war and that the MCU timeline has really just been enjoying a period of relative peace, with occasional Nexus events creating loose variants that He Who Remains via the TVA has tried to prune. So when Sylvie pushed Loki through the time door back into the TVA, Loki entered a different reality. Not the TVA that he spent the past several episodes in, but a TVA of a different timeline. One where Mobius has no idea who Loki is, one where he and B-15 know their boss is Kang, where Casey, according to the credits, is a hunter, and not necessarily a TVA that Kang has invaded or conquered, but one that has always been that way from its beginning. Notice how He Who Remains' sacred timeline already began to fragment even before Sylvie killed him. That would imply its splitting into a multiverse was already in the cards. And since the timeline is arranged in a ring, it would suggest time flows in a flat circle in which all events are predetermined, including the eventuality that the timeline would unravel into branches that contain their own variant Kangs. And one of those branches would contain the TVA that Loki ended up in with its tyrant flavored Kang. But the confusion comes from our assumption that the TVA, the Void, the End of Time were all neutral ground, just constants existing separate from the sacred timeline or any of its branches. So how could this new TVA exist within a variable timeline? Well, it could just be only the Citadel at the End of Time. That floating rock ring is the only neutral ground left in all the multiverse. Meanwhile, every TVA is linked to a specific universe. But there is another way of interpreting this that might answer the question, because look back again at the episode 6 opening shot. We zoom out from our solar system, our galaxy, our whole known universe. Then it's revealed all of that is contained within a black hole, which neighbors another black hole that the camera now pivots and dives into. And that is where we get He Who Remains and the Citadel and his sacred timeline ring. And by this logic, perhaps all the voices and moments we heard from the MCU past took place in a separate universe than the one that we spent this final episode in. And this could mean that there is a TVA for each universe, as well as infinite citadels, infinite sacred timeline rings. Interestingly, the only MCU voices we hear on the way down this second black hole are classic Loki, Sylvie,
Open your eyes! Open your eyes!
and Vision from WandaVision.
What is grief if not love persevering? But what is grief if not love persevering?
A line suggested to take place in the main MCU before Civil War, but heard during Agatha and Wanda's memory trip in the Westview Hex in WandaVision, suggesting Hex reality elements like Billy and Tommy could exist in this universe, which should be why Wanda now hears their voices upon the incursion. But before we continue, thanks to video's sponsor, Petal, and their Petal 2 card. Petal is a credit card company that wants to help you succeed financially. The Petal 2 card was designed to help you build credit. When you apply for Petal Petal 2, your banking history may be used to instantly create a cash score, a measure of your credit worthiness based on income, spending, and savings. It could help you qualify even if you've never had a credit card before. Petal 2 Visa card has no annual fee. You'll get 1% cash back right away and up to 1.5% cash back when you make 12 on-time monthly payments. Their app makes it easy to track your spending, make on-time payments, and manage subscription spending. Petal 2 credit limits start at $500 and range up to $10,000. See if you're pre-approved without impacting your credit score. It takes minutes to apply online. Petal is partnered with WebBank member FDIC, which issues the cards. As of today, the Petal 2 variable APRs range from 12.99% to 26.99%. Start building your credit history. Go to the link in my description box below, petalcard.com/newrockstars today to find out more. That's Petal with the T, Petal, P-E-T-A-L, card.com/newrockstars. But I think one big clue we need to go back and look at are those ring stains on Renslayer's table. She notices them again in the finale, recalling when she and Mobius talked about them back in episode 2.
Those rings are already there.
And they're all from you.
It's from your other favorite analyst.
What did that mean? Well, in the finale, Renslayer goes from one scene knowing nothing about He Who Remains to a later scene suddenly disturbed by whatever mystery file Miss Minutes gave her, but still oddly protective of the TVA's mission. And she goes through a time door to, as she says, search for free will. The information Renslayer received might have revealed to her that this TVA was not her first TVA. Similar to how, in the Matrix Reloaded Architects scene that this Loki episode seems to parallel, Neo learns that this was actually the 6th iteration of the Matrix. And here, now that these anomaly Lokis found a glitch in the system by falling in love and creating an unprecedented Nexus event, Renslayer's next step could be to seek out another TVA and restart the cycle. Those rings on the table could be the way the system keeps track of what number TVA they're on. 2 currently, just like we ended a second black hole from the main MCU to get here, and then the Sacred Timeline ring could be the second ring, a ring that has now been broken, so they must start again. And in this interpretation, the Sacred Timeline ring might not be a rope unraveling branching out into several different timelines, but really a sturdy ring breaking apart and crumbling as a separate timeline ring representing another universe also unravels and tangles with it. Entanglement that now has caused Loki to arrive in a TVA ruled openly by Kang the Conqueror. I know. Huh? This whole multiple rings interpretation is a lot, especially since one fragmenting Sacred Timeline ring is chaotic enough to wrap your head around, and now I'm suggesting it could be chaos squared or chaos cubed. And perhaps that black hole Devil's Anus to Devil's Anus visual might have just represented a way to cosmically and spatially traverse single branch strands within the one Sacred Timeline stream ring. That would be a simpler way to look at it. Kinda simpler. But whether the multiverse takes the form of intersecting capillary branches that Sylvie saw after killing He Who Remains, a rope unraveling into different strands, or whether these are cracks in the dam as another ring lamentases into us, the conclusion is the same. If Kang could have already existed in one of these other branches, so could any of the alternate universe Marvel heroes that Kang might have faced in that alternate reality. We're talking alternate Avengers, recasts of characters we knew, the Fantastic Four, X-Men, other Spider People, all answers that might be coming sooner than we thought, folks, and What If, and No Way Home, and Multiverse of Madness. Comment down below with your theories, and reminder, you can get our Loki-inspired merch options at newrockstarsmerch.com, like this Loki Out of Time shirt. All of them directly support us here at New Rockstars. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at EA Voss. Follow and subscribe to New Rockstars. Thank you for watching. Bye.